You want to beat blackjack for real money with card counting, but either you don't have access to a brick and mortar casino, or you just don't want to leave the comforts of your own home. Can you beat online live dealer blackjack with card counting? I'm going to break that down in this video. I'm Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I've played blackjack professionally. I've run teams responsible for beating casinos for roughly $4 million, and now I teach others how to beat blackjack with card counting. And I get asked nearly every week, can you beat online casinos with card counting? I was even recently forwarded an article written by an online casino that claims card counting is possible in online blackjack. And we all know that casinos are in the business of helping you take their money, so let's get into the math behind this claim. In order for a blackjack game to be profitable for a card counter, it comes down to three essential elements. First, the rules of the game have to be fair enough that we can overcome the house edge and beat that game. Secondly, they have to deal enough of the cards before a shuffle that it is actually worth our time financially. And third, you have to be able to play enough rounds per hour to really make any money at the game. Before I break down these three elements, I'm just kind of curious how many people watching this have played online live dealer blackjack. If you have, leave a comment below, and I'm curious what those conditions were, the rules, the deck penetration, and how fast or slow the game felt. Not only have I looked into online live dealer blackjack, but I've surveyed all of my card counter friends to find out the best of these three criteria. So let's dig into them, starting with the rules. Of everything we've found with an actual shoe game where, it's not being shuffled every round, but there's some form of deck penetration, we found average rules, not great, but definitely rules that are good enough that I would play that game of blackjack. The second essential element is deck penetration, which is how far into the 6 or 8 decks did they deal before they shuffle. And most of the games that aren't shuffled every round, they're 8 decks online, and most casinos are going to deal 4 and then shuffle before dealing the other 4 decks. Now, this is an absolute gut punch. I'll get into the math in a minute, but let's just say I personally would not play a blackjack game that had this poor of deck penetration. The third element is rounds per hour, or really, how fast is the game dealt? And when advantage player Jim Makos looked into this, he was finding he was playing about 20 rounds per hour. Now, when we looked into it, it was closer to 50, but compared to a brick and mortar casino where you're expecting 100 or maybe 200 rounds per hour, I would say 100 is the average for a brick and mortar casino. 50 rounds per hour means that you're making half as much money per hour as another table. Let me recap so far. We've got average rules, poor deck penetration at a very slow game. So let's get into the math so that you can decide if this is worth your time. Here are the results for the best online casino rules we could find. And with a bet spread of up to 2 spots of $500, assuming 100 rounds per hour, which is average in a real casino, this would be worth about $45 an hour. Well, to keep your risk low, which a card counter usually wants their risk at 1%, you would need a bankroll of $250,000 to play this game. And then when you factor in the rounds per hour, that it's not 100 rounds per hour for an online casino, but closer to 50 or maybe 25 rounds per hour, that game becomes worth about $10 to $25 per hour with a $250,000 bankroll. Now, let's compare that with a real casino, and this would be, I would say, average an 8-deck game with average rules, but average deck penetration of 1.5 decks cut off. You would be expecting to make about $100 an hour of EV and only need a $50,000 bankroll. Now, of course, not everybody has a $50,000 bankroll, but this is what you would need with that exact same bet spread to make $100 an hour. And if you understand the principles of EV and you're able to maximize your rounds per hour in a casino, you can actually make a lot more than that. Larger bankroll, you can make more money. Better rules, more money, and better deck penetration, more money. The problem is you're not going to find any better than this at an online casino, and this is average conditions at a brick and mortar casino. So if online live dealer blackjack isn't sounding good, guess what? It gets worse. Not only are the games terrible and you need a massive bankroll to beat them, but there are stories, I mean firsthand stories of people getting on the phone with me and saying, Colin, I know you said not to play online live dealer blackjack, but I did it anyway. I won $40,000 and now the casino will not give me my money. And you could be saying, well, they've got to give you. No, they don't. If this is some offshore casino, sometimes it's written in the fine print on the casino that if they believe that you are using some sort of a device, which how are they going to know? They don't have to pay you out. I've been a part of advantage plays with online casinos where they've refused to pay us out, but we knew the edge was high enough, we were trying it anyway. If all of that sounds worth it for you, you can go for it. But the bottom line is this. While I know dozens of card counters who are making a living at real live casinos, I do not know a single advantage player who is trying to count cards online. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what Richard Munchkin said when I asked him about this. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the most successful, well-known, respected advantage players. He's part of the Blackjack Hall of Fame. And I asked him and he responded with this. Anyone who's taken the time to learn card counting can find far better opportunities than are available online. I see counting those games as an enormous waste of someone's time. So while online live dealer blackjack is not a viable option, real casinos absolutely still are. Here's what Tommy Highland, my AP hero, had to say.
If I had to say when would be the best time to play blackjack, I might say it was now. You know, it's only my opinion. Other people say it was definitely better in the old days, but I think this is a real good time to make money at blackjack.
For more on beating blackjack in real casinos for real money, you can subscribe to our channel, check out some of our other videos, or check out blackjackapprenticeship.com.